Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to just make a very simple newsletter that you can use for pretty much anything. This sample newsletter is a HOA newsletter that I started. It's a simple design and we're going to get started right now. So this sample newsletter just has 4 spaces for, well, 3 spaces for content. Element wise, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 graphic elements, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 text elements, a sample logo here, which can be replaced with any other logo, and your heading right here. So to get started, I'm going to open up a clean page right here, and we are going to recreate this page here. It's part of a larger newsletter packet that I have created, and that product can be linked in the description if you're interested in purchasing that on our Etsy shop as a template. So let's get started. First, you're going to want to go to the text section. You're going to want to add in a header and place that up at the top right here. The font that I've used here is Crimson Pro, which is a free font for all Canva users to use. If you see a font with a crown here on the right hand corner, that means that it is a Canva Pro font, and it is available to Canva Pro members, or available for an extra fee if you download it using a Canva credit. So we're going to change the font to Canva Pro. Remember, the size of these letters right here is 48.5, and the size of these letters here is 31.5. So I'm going to readjust this, make sure that our orientation is to the left, and we're going to type in Meridian HOA at 31.5. Next, we're going to type in newsletter. We want to change the size of this to 48.5. So we highlight that and we type in 48.5. And we get that there. The next thing we're going to want to look at is the spacing here. If you can see, the spacing here is a lot larger than the spacing here. I'll just go here to the spacing tool, and you can see that I have it spaced to 0.8. We're going to do the same thing here. Just type in 0.8, and that will close up your header here. The next thing we're going to do is look for some kind of sample logo like I did here. We'll go to Elements. I'll type in logo. So the first one that comes up, and that is the one that I used for this newsletter. Make this smaller, and we're going to change the color to one that complements this newsletter's design. I've filled it with this element here, which is a changeable element. Not all of them allow you to change their color, but this one does. I've chosen to keep it as it is. I've scrolled down, I can find it right here, and then I can just bring it over. Now, one of the tips that I do give new Canva users is to drag your element in versus just pressing the button. When you press the button, it automatically puts your element in the center of the page, which is annoying if you're, for example, working on this bottom half and you click on this. It's not going to bring it here to the bottom half. It'll just throw it at the top half right there. So you have to resize your zoom in order to get this going again, and that can be annoying. So what we want to do is zoom this in just a little, drag it into where we want it to be, and then just place it in our box, our circle right there. The next thing we want to do is bring in a frame so that we have some imagery here to complement this first set of heading. Now you can go to the Elements section, scroll down to the area called Frames. You could use any of these frames. These are set sizes though. I prefer to use the grid. This allows me to resize my frame to whatever I want it to be. It'll initially take over the whole page. You just bring that down. It allows you to resize it horizontally and vertically and bring it down to size like this. And you just size it to whatever you think would look good for your design. Now, this new page we're working on is not going to be exact to this one because I haven't duplicated it. We're going to try to get it as close as possible to the one we did here. And make this just a little bit bigger. And we now want to create this box right here. We need to go to the Elements section, scroll up, grab us a little box right here. And we're going to match the size of this vertically to this box here, but we're going to make it thinner, and we're going to ensure we get it within the frame, which is right there. There we go. Just a little bit more. Now, the next tip is to break up your paragraphs so that you have one line for your heading and one line for your paragraph. The reason that we do this is to ensure that we can just individually work with our headings, make them bigger or smaller. You can do that within a paragraph. For example, if you highlight a section of text within a paragraph, you can make that bigger if you want to. If it's a singular line, if it's in a paragraph like this, it messes it up. But let's say we make a separate line like this and we call it sample. We highlight this. That one line will become bigger if that's what you want to do. I just find that it's easier to manage headings and paragraphs if they are separate. So we're going to change this font back to Crimson Pro. The font I've used here, the size is 11 for the paragraphs and 13 for the headers in boldface. So we're going to make this aligned to the left. Size it to 13. Bring it up. Find a nice margin there. Then we're going to duplicate this paragraph. We're going to change the font to what we have here, which is Open Sans. That is another free font available in Canva. Now, if you're using sample text, let's say you're building a template and you just want to use some sample text to begin with, or it's just something you're showing someone as a sample, you can go to Lorem Ipsum, which is a place to get general Latin font that is used as fillers in paragraphs, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So the service that I use for my Lorem Ipsum dummy text is lipsum.com. You can go to lipsum.com at lipsum.com. And no, lipsum.com has not sponsored this video. This is just a service that I use. And you can see here that Lorem Ipsum is just simple dummy text for printing and typesetting. You scroll down to the bottom here. You choose how many paragraphs you want, or how many words you want, how many bytes, or how many lists, and it will generate that for you. Click the generate button, And here I have now 5 paragraphs of lorem ipsum that I can use for my dummy text. We're going to copy and paste some of this text and move back onto our template. Okay, so we're back. I've copied and pasted that lorem ipsum, and I will just paste that right there. As you can see, it's way more text than we need. We can just adjust that to about where we want that to be. Change that comma to a period and align this to the left, which it is. And we want to center that in our box and bring in our header like this. So now our first paragraph for this newsletter is done. The next thing we want to do is create another secondary paragraph to go directly underneath it. So we're going to paste our lorem ipsum there, align that to the left, change the size to 11, bring it into our margins as so. And then we want to make sure that that is centered. We're going to duplicate this heading here to make it easier. And you would just type in a sample header right here as so. This is a sample header. Now for your actual newsletter, if you would be using this as your newsletter, you would just type in whatever that title needs to be for there. This system right here will allow you, when you hold onto an element and try to move it, if you can see here, those numbers 0.177 shows you that the spacing between this paragraph and this header and the spacing between this paragraph and this header are exactly the same. So that'll keep your design uniform throughout. One of the last things we're going to do is our bottom paragraph with our element input here. In this one, we've done it a little bit differently. We've placed our text in a box, and right next to it, we have an image of a house. So and let's not forget to change our font to Open Sans to keep that uniform. Always make sure that your spacing is uniform throughout. So you can see that spacing was not, so we're going to change this to 1.4, and that spaces out our font so that it looks a little bit better. White space is very important when you are designing marketing media, things of that nature. It causes readers to not strain their eyes as much. It's not as busy. It's just a more pleasant way to read text on a page. Right here, we're going to count our number of paragraphs: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we want to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We bring this up to that number as well, so that we don't have too much going on and then we can't fit in the rest of our elements. I'm going to duplicate this box here. We're going to bring it down. Make sure that it's in this margin. Now this, bringing it into the margins that you see here when you move it around, that magenta line that goes around this, that's just a preference for this particular newsletter. If you have a printer that prints borderless, you can bring this all the way out into the edge if you want to. That's just really up to you and depending on the design that you want to create. Next, we're going to duplicate this frame by copying and pasting it. And we want to bring it down. And this is why I enjoy the grids, because they are adjustable however you want. If you were to choose a square frame, you would only be able to measure it this way or that way diagonally across. You can't bring the top down or the sides in or out to adjust it however you want. The grid allows you to do that and fit it into wherever you need. Now we want this to be centered here. We're going to copy this header, bring it down, and we're going to align that with that box so that it looks uniform and roughly the same space here and the same space here. And we're going to duplicate this paragraph, bring it down here. We want to leave enough space so that it doesn't look too cluttered. And then we're going to end that paragraph right there. Now we've gotten that semi-close. This is a little smaller, I would say. There, now it's completely aligned. The last thing I did for this first page of this newsletter was I brought in social media icons and I kind of overlaid them over this box. So for the elements, we would just type here in Facebook, bring in the element that we want, drag it to where we need it to be, make it smaller, as small as you would like it to be. You can make it bigger. Then we're going to do Twitter. At the R, and using our alignment guide there, we would align that to ensure that the bottom and the top meet the other elements in its place. And then the last one I created was one for Instagram. And I believe I chose this one right here. So I'll just align this bottom part with the other two bottom pieces and make sure that it's spaced out to 0.219, and then just bring that in. Now it's evenly spaced and it's also the same size and uniform. Bring that in together. Then we would change our colors to whatever we wanted to change it to. And you could put in a sample text for your handle if all of your social media accounts use the same handle. Type in your handle. Make this smaller and put that right there, evenly spaced, so anyone knows that they can just type in that handle and find you on social media. The last thing we're going to do is find images for our frames right here. We're going to go to Photos. I'm going to type in housing development, because this is a HOA inspired design. Okay, I'm going to use this one as a sample right here. Just grab it, hold it, and bring it into the frame. It's really that simple. And for this one, I just want a house. You grab it, hold it, and bring it into the frame, and now you have some media there. And that is how we created this very simple first page of a newsletter. Now remember, the images with a crown at the bottom right are for Canva Pro users. You can still use that image if you download it using a Canva credit. Those that don't have the crown are free to use for all Canva accounts that are free. If you like this design, head over to our Etsy shop, and I'll have the link in the description with the purchase link for this in our shop. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This allows me to create more videos like this that help you learn with Canva and teach you how to use some of the templates that we make and sell on our Etsy shop. Remember to follow us on social media. We're at Cathy's Templates on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. and consider supporting us on Patreon at Cathy's Templates. Your support really does help us create these templates and these learning videos for everyone to watch and use. Until next time,